Our next session is equally interesting. Let me tell you, everyone. Here we talk about building defining strategies, Pune's realty sales outlook. So how the sales are changing in the city of Pune. Let me welcome our moderator of the session, Mr. Praveen Apte, Managing Director, Pune, Savills Property Services India Private Limited. A real estate professional with 22 years of experience, Praveen comes with an in-depth knowledge of handling a diverse portfolio of assignments. These include leasing of office and IT spaces, designing and implementing sales strategies, advisory services, land and manufacturing space acquisition, structuring joint ventures, divestment assignments, FDI partnerships, crafting multi-location expansion strategies, to name a few. Mr. Apte, a very warm welcome to you. Let me now welcome our speakers of the session. Introducing in an alphabetical order, let me introduce Mr. Mohit Goyal, Joint Managing Director, Goyal Properties. Mohit Goyal is an experienced professional with a demonstrated history of working in the construction industry, skilled in negotiation, business planning, sales, market research, and management, strong business development professional. He is an MSc in management with focus in marketing from Cass Business School, London. Our next eminent panel member, let me introduce Mudra Wedhikar, co-founder, CEO, Estatemint, with an engineering degree in computer science and MSc in advanced computer science and IT management from the esteemed University of Manchester. Mudra's zest for bridging technology and services for end consumer formed the core idea that laid foundation for the inception of Estatemint. Mr. Nitin Gupta, President, Sales, Marketing, and CRM Head, Mantra Properties and Developers, is our next eminent panel member. Mr. Gupta is a dynamic, goal-focused and versatile professional with over 16 years of experience in marketing and sales and distribution management of financial products and real estate. He is adept in managing overall profitability of operations and has expertise in developing and managing retail and institutional channels in order to derive the required market share, revenue, and profit. Our next panel member, let me introduce Mr. Pushpamitra Das, founder Justo, with over 3 decades of experience across diversified industries with large Indian corporate at senior leadership positions. Pushpamitra has helmed and converted numerous budding ideas into successful companies. He has been a part of leading organizations like Piramal Group, SR Group, Vadwan Retail, Wadia Group, and Rustamji, amongst others. Our next and final member, I introduce Mr. Rahul Goyal, co-founder, Realatte Ventures LLP. Mr. Rahul Goyal co-founded Realatte in 2017, one of the leading real estate digital marketing agencies in India, which has helped more than 100 top real estate brands achieve digital expansion goals. Previously, he held a leadership role in successful startup Reality Redefined, acquired by Quicker. With a background in engineering, Rahul has over 10 years of substantial experience in full-scale digital marketing services. So this is our eminent panel talking about the sales strategies for Pune. Mr. Apte, let me hand it over to you now.
Thank you, Sapna. And at the outset, let me welcome all the speakers on this panel discussion. Look, last 2 years, we have seen a lot of adversity. We have witnessed challenging environments. But at the same time, what we have also seen is the unlocking of the potential buyers. This, I must say, was coupled with innovative ideas that came through from developers, not only in their sales strategies, but in the entire product mix itself. Now, without getting into more of details of what has happened in the last year, this discussion is all about what we have to do next. So let me quickly jump into the context of this entire discussion. And, just to have a very organized kind of discussion, what I'll do is I'll just call out a speaker and ask a few questions, and we can then dwell upon their views, which would be the most valuable session. So, jumping straight into it, Mohit, welcome on the show. How are you doing?
Very good. How are you?
All super, Mohit. So tell me, while we are discussing about this particular change in the sentiment of the buyers, have you seen a change in the profile of a typical home buyer? And sorry, before you start this entire discussion, I'm keeping it sector agnostic. So it could be commercial, it could be residential. Okay. So we'll have an overall reality view.
Perfect, super. So our focus is typically in the residential segment. So I could probably speak more, with authority on that. Definitely, there is a change in the profile of the buyer. We are seeing more and more younger people who are now opting to buy apartments. Pune has actually been a magnet for migration of population towards the city. We have IT industry, BFSI, auto, education. All of these industries are, providing a lot of flux of people from the smaller towns to our city. So as newer and newer population is getting added into the city, hence the profile or the age of the buyer also who's coming to the city has reduced of the home buyer in general. The change also that I can see is that because the information is available out there and it's like a tsunami of information. So the buyers today are very much educated already before coming to visit to a site. So it is not more so for an inquiry perspective that they are coming to a project, but they are probably visiting us to evaluate and compare us with the other peers who they feel can be a right choice for them. So hence, I feel that this is the major shift in the profile of the buyer. That it's like I would say that rather than profile, it's the mindset of the buyer and the consumer behavior that has changed in the last couple of years that we can see.
Okay. So, when you said that, you also mentioned about buyers being more younger. So
Yeah.
are you seeing that buying a home is dawning over the young and restless more than just renting a home?
So I wouldn't call them restless per se. I mean, these guys are so well informed, and they are very clear of what they want out of an option that they have. So they know what kind of space they want. They know which vicinity they want to stay in. They're very well informed and aware of the financials that they possess. And in fact, because of the pandemic and people being working from home, what we have seen is that they have been able to save in on a lot of there's been a lot of saving in general, so that has helped them again to opt for owing at home rather than renting at home. So yes, so these guys, I would call them restless, but I would call them more aware of what they want, very clear in their thought process.
Sure, that's fantastic, because home buyers have to be educated, and we've been striving for that in the last few decades. That it's not about just the money that you pay for a home, but the entire experience that you get along with it.
Yes, absolutely.
On that particular point, I understand that 1.5, 2 years is a very short time in a project life cycle of any development.
Yeah.
But while we're talking about newer developments coming in, how have the developers or you in general adjusted to this change or the evolving kind of change in the market sentiments or the target audience as such?
So, we have no option but to evolve. If we don't evolve, we'll perish as a developer.
Right.
So what we are doing, I mean, I cannot call for other people, but at Goyal Properties, what we are doing is we are actually listening to our buyers. We are doing a lot of talking and research from what the needs are. We are keeping them as the center of a strategy and also in the center of a design perspective. So keeping in mind what kind of a budget would be more suitable. So just some numbers that I was reading a research report recently. In Pune in 2021, we sold about 80,000 units, give or take, and this actually is at par with the pre-COVID level. In 2019, we had about 79,000 units sold. In 2021, we have about 20,000. So we are at par with this. Also, what we are seeing is that the maximum unit sales, say about 65 to 70% of the units sold are under 70 lakhs. So this is like the bracket where Pune typically revolves around. Average price of an apartment in Pune is about 50-55 lakh rupees. I would see that is what we have seen. So we are designing products keeping in mind that this we are not crossing a certain threshold, so that we understand what they want, how much they can spend. Even the amenities and facilities that we provide in a project should be not just for aesthetic purpose, but also keeping in mind the long-term use and how much a buyer can afford to maintain it in the longer run. So that is also one thing that we keep in mind. Another important thing that we are seeing a change of perspective, thought process on the buyer is that because they've been working from home, so a defined space as a co-working within the premises of a project is another need that has come up in the last post this pandemic period. And with the evolution of electric vehicle now, even that has become a mandatory provision that we need to provide in a project, because as the future is unfolding, so we have to be the infrastructure in the project has to be readily accepting this changing dynamics. So yes, so keeping all of this in mind, we ensure that there is some flexibility in our design, and there is flexibility in things that can be which can be adopted in future. So yes, this is the way how we are trying to evolve in the design of the project, and keeping in mind the changing trend and the atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very valid point, Mohit. Like you said, that one note that you made, that you have to evolve, otherwise you'll perish. That's become the buzzword now, no doubt about that. But, at the same time, you also mentioned that requirements that come through from a buyer have to be catered to, like the electronic charging points. Okay.
Yes.
I'm completely agreeing with you that it has to become the buzzword going further. On
Absolutely.
that point, while we're talking about strategies, I would like to ask this question to Nitin Gupta, who's also the president of sales. And as far as sales strategies are concerned, I'm sure he'll come up with his own anecdotes. What are the kind of new sales strategies or, approaches or patterns that you've seen, whether it's commercial or whether it's residential? Like I said, we are going to be sector agnostic here. Are you seeing going away from the traditional ways of selling, reinventing the kind of touch points that are created for customer satisfaction?
See, I think it's very important to point out here that real estate is no more a brick or mortar business. It's more about not about selling a flat. It's about owning a customer. So and the journey just begun from there. It's about a service. The customer engagement starts from the pre-sales and continues not just post-sales, but once the home buyer buys the project with the developer, he becomes a lifelong customer and your brand ambassador. From that point of view, as a mantra, we think so. So hence, once a customer comes into a company, it's a lifelong relationship. Now, there are 2 points to your question. One is about the approaches and about the strategies. So there has to be different sales strategies and go-to-market strategies from the sales point of view. But as far as from the industry point of view, if I look at, there are new approaches and industries changing very, very fast. And sales is becoming that much more competitive with the supply coming in, with the kind of product innovation coming in, and with the kind of lot of things have been changing. Still, if you compare real estate industry with the other developed industry, like say real estate is again an asset class. So if I have to compare myself with another asset class like equity, like gold or various other things, so another thing which I feel still we are far behind in terms of use of technology. Say, for example, today DMAT still does not exist in real estate. So that is the another very big approach which has to come into real estate going ahead. Now, another important point which I want to highlight from the industry point of view is you have to have a threshold money, say at least 25 lakh or 30 lakh rupees or 50 lakh rupees to start your investment in real estate. So still being up with 100 years of steady returns, the real estate as an asset class which is giving, still a lot of people could not afford having a willingness to divert their money from equity market or a debt market or from a bullion market, or even people are getting into cryptocurrency in a fractional way. But still that availability of fractional ownership is another big approach which real estate industry can take going ahead. And someone has to lead that way, and that kind of changes I can foresee coming in very near future, in next 2-3 years time. So, and then again, yes, if you are talking about your question is about the sales strategy or traditional way or the new way, I think everything coexists. In a family, even an elder senior citizen is also important, and a young, vibrant kid is also important. So when I talking about the traditional, it brings a lot of learnings, it brings a lot of experience. But yes, certainly earlier traditional strategy, if it was about print, you giving a print ad or putting couple of hoardings and customers was coming in, buying a real estate, and you give a price sheet and say, boss, this is what it is, this is the floor plan, and this is the price sheet, and this is the form. You take it or you leave it. Certainly it's not there. We have as I spoke about the service, digital has come up a very long way. So additionally we have to source digitally. There are, all the developers has to invest a lot into the technology front, and lot many other things as a digital platform. So developers are turning towards technology to reap benefits of the digital and the virtual engagement. Say for example, with Mantra, in 2022 we did a launch at the time of lockdown and sold 2 towers. So how we did that? We created a complete digital platform with virtual tours, giving customers, and creating the flip book virtually, engaging customers, and customers have that much more time. So we are moving to a digital marketing strategy, cloud-based application, and all the more data security and more. Payment gateways are all online. You don't have to rely on the cash or a check. So immediately the payment gateways are playing an important role in transacting. So many such solutions has gained attention due to rising customer preference towards digital. Investing in digital tools will help developer, and various other factors will bring in more customers to the fore. And yes, we are using, and as a developer, I think as a sales strategy, we have to touch base customers on all the platforms and gaining his mind share. And competition, we have to be present, and visibility has to be there more than our competition.
Agree. You know, on the same point, what you also mentioned about right now during what you spoke about is basically customer satisfaction has become an utmost priority. You know, how are the customers going to be satisfied? How are we going to enhance or enhance the entire experience of a customer delight? Okay, now, while we speak from the customer standpoint that he has to be delighted in this entire experience, right from inquiring about the property till buying it, registering it, seeing the construction go through and moving into an apartment. Okay, as a developer, okay, how do you maintain the equilibrium between, and this is a very tricky question as well, that having customer satisfaction at its utmost thing, at the same time, maintaining your sales velocities as well? Because a project in any
It's a very
dynamic.
interesting question.
Sure.
But I think, see, there is nothing which can be done at the cost of customer satisfaction.
Hmm.
And I always say this, that a pandemic has done worse to us, but has given us some good lessons also. So the drought in inquiries during the pandemic gave us a lessons to, to understand the value of a lead and inquiry. A customer generally actually begins from there. The first call you get on your call center. So we believe that if the customer delight and satisfaction is taken care of, it will eventually convert into a long-term customer sales. It's just not about the first transaction or that buying that apartment. Again, I'll repeat that. As a developer, you have to spend a good amount of energy, time, bandwidth, resources towards customer delight and satisfaction. So, but I think once that is set, it is really definitely converts into a long-term sales, not just with the customer, but with the customer influence circle as well. So at Mantra, we have a seamless sales process, starting from the lead gen to lead servicing to then getting the right experience at the site, deploying the product to the customer, solving all his objections, bringing it to the closers, doing the documentations, taking care of the entire experience, and then getting into a registration and onboarding a customer's timely update on the development of his projects and dream apartment, what he has bought with us. And of course, till possession, we hand over the key and beyond that. Okay. So obviously there is a lot of interest in market. If you need to capture in the customer, the cut, all this process, the entire journey has to be important. The cut will be created with the customer delight and satisfaction. If the customer is aware of the customer-centric approach, the developer takes all the innovations in the customer-centric approach. So that much more trust with customer will have with the brand. And if you see all our new launches, whether we did in Miraki at Akurdi or Mirari in Upper Koregaon Park, we give a very different level of customer experience, and we ensure that customers is being taken care of from that first call till the possession.
Yeah, so yeah, there's been a lot of innovation in this aspect as well. Like, you and Mohit were also mentioning earlier that there was a time in the real estate industry where take it or leave it was an approach, but that has obviously evolved, and a customer has got much more attention over the last few years, and especially during the pandemic, where his ideas, his views have been given a lot of thought and a lot of consideration as well. Now, while on that topic, while we're talking about a life cycle of a project, do you think this is more construction related, but do you think that getting more ideas in construction like precast or steel structures is going to help? And do you see a future in those kind of construction equipments or construction methodologies? Would they increase the timeline or crunch the timeline of the construction time cycle?
From what we are seeing in the industry, all the advancement in the technology of construction definitely reduces the construction time and make the construction process more effective. A fast-paced construction assures customers of speedy progress and provides them a belief that the things in a fast progression, it has a positive impact and reduce the sales time also. These actions themselves speaks for the builder's authenticity, and the customers have faith that the projects will be delivered on time, which is another very, very big thing, which ultimately builds better goodwill for the developer, leading it to easy sales. Therefore, it is certain that precast building components will not only reduce the construction time, but also creates a faithful mindset in the mind of customers, leading towards enhanced sales. As far as construction development is concerned, it is very much required to keep moving towards the better technology and maintaining the quality of construction as well. Just to get a faster construction does not mean that you can start compromising on the quality. And anytime the mindset is that developer delays, it's never the developer delays. Developer also benefits out of a faster construction. Is the process, lot of clearances are required, lot of quality checks are required at the time, and lot of clearances are required before we start construction and during the construction also. So as far as again the construction development is concerned, it is very much required to keep moving towards the better technology all the time. Hence, to conclude, precast structure will help in reducing the sales effort, leading it to easy sales and enhancing the sales cycle. And we all have to move towards a new technology, new advances in construction, at the same time maintaining the durability, what I was talking about again.
Absolutely.
So we do not want to be hasty to finish the constructions, but also maintain the quality, and obviously adapting to the better technology all the time, and ensuring we are maintaining the quality. And certainly it will have a more faith of the customers in us, and also we will be giving the timely delivery.
Yeah, good point, Nitin. I mean, one point that definitely came out is very confidently you said that it's not the developers because of which the delayed construction is caused. It's the
Mohit will agree with me on this.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I would just like to add on to this point as well. When you're talking about the changing profile of the customer or the need of the customer, so most customer post the pandemic, they are also wanting to ready to move in apartments or early possession apartments. So, by use of technology, which Nitin rightly addressed, this is going to be a key change maker in the times to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, while maintaining quality, while maintaining the entire durability, speed of construction would also be something that would be looked at going in the future.
If I may be allowed to add, Praveen.
Absolutely, sir.
The way the construction costs are going up, and in recent past, it has gone up by almost about 400 to 500 rupees in the city of Pune, or maybe more in case of a few projects. It is almost about 15 to 20% increase in the cost. Yes. Of the overall cost of construction. If we do not speeden up the construction, where we are in a situation where the prices are not going to rise, it's a double whammy for the developer.
Very good point, sir.
Without taking names, I can tell you a lot of projects are there in Pune which were sold, at a very, very good price for the customer, where they're facing a lot of heat today in terms of being able to complete the project on time because of the increase in construction cost.
Very good point.
Yes.
You know, the faster you develop, the faster you get the money from the customer. So
The game is
timeline is met.
the game is changing. You have to accelerate. You have to speeden up your entire work.
You also actually need to find a fine balance between how much to sell and at what velocity, because this has been an daunting task for developers now of late, like post in the last 1.5 to 2 years from the time we are seeing this price rise. So like correctly mentioned that this increase in price is really hitting on to a lot of developers who have achieved faster sales as compared to construction progress.
That's why we say real estate is a cash flow business.
Absolutely.
I think that's
It's a cash flow business.
It's real estate purely
And
a
more
cash
so,
flow
see,
business.
last 4-5 years, customer was stuck with the mindset that prices to kahin jaane wala nahi. Prices are going to stay here. Now we have started seeing prices moving up very, very fast. So the customers who have bought 3 months back or 6 months back are seeing a good returns on investment, which is also very important. So we have to get back into that cycle of, price hike is not a bad thing. Price hike is actually a good thing, which gives
And
that
also-
much more confidence to the investors also.
And also, without knowing, a lot of customers, they don't do the counting and accounting properly. The interest which is borne by the customer during the construction period, okay, it ranges not less than 12% to 20%, depending on the speed of construction, which is a very, very important aspect. Even if you consider the home loan cost at about 7%, and average time taken of about 3 years, out of which most of the monies are collected in 2 years' time on a weighted average basis. The customer is paying for 14% cost. Customer is paying. So the sooner we complete the project, customer pays lesser. The cost to customer also is lesser, much lesser. So, that's why I say the speed of construction is not only good for the developer, but also it is good for the customer. It's a win-win.
Absolutely. So, technology can actually create a very good equilibrium of customer delight, sales velocities, and maintaining timelines and saving costs as well.
I agree.
Yeah. Moving on, we've seen a lot of innovations. We've seen a lot of new types of businesses coming in. Mudra, one question that I would like to ask you is on the co-living concept. Okay, we have seen that co-living as a concept, though it's fairly new in India, but it's seen a lot of traction over the last few years. And we have seen commitments made by the operators. We have seen a lot of growth from these segments. Now, going forward, while we are talking about enhancing the sales experience, Mudra, do you feel that the co-living sector would also grow and people might want to just rent a space which is easy to live in? And how do you see this entire industry going forward?
Honestly, Praveen, what we have seen in Pune as a city, we get a lot of migrant population. Like we've heard in the last panel, also this discussion has been going on in this panel as well, that Pune gets a lot of migrant population due to our IT industry and numerous industries like Mohit mentioned previously. I feel co-living spaces are something that we can definitely, that people are definitely looking for. But having said that, I feel there is still a lot of, there are a lot of developments that the people, the players in co-living should have. So I think there are convenience of usage of co-living facilities or digital services for probably ordering grocery or probably cleaning their room or so many day-to-day activities. The way services are going to be dealt with and the ease of use of such spaces are going to probably determine whether a player or whether a person is going to probably succeed in this factor or not. Also, having said that, I feel that a person who is probably a co-living user is ideally a person who is single working person. So I've realized that Pune as a city has a lot of single working professionals, and not a lot of them have time, since probably it's their first job or they're migrants. They don't have a lot of time on their hand. So people probably will move into a renting format. But of course, I think the Gen Z that we call the buyers today, they are so used to having facilities that are easy or easy to use, or something that is quick on their hands. This is all going to probably determine the success. Also, Praveen, I caught you saying whether it's going to compete, whether everybody's going to move the rental way. At this point of time, I think the co-living format, rentals are not quite cheap yet in the co-living format. So it still competes with the rental format till date. So I think with additional services, facilities, how digitization, like Nitin was correctly saying, that automation, and there are a lot of new formats that the providers will have to compete with in place of traditional rentals as well. So I haven't seen that happening yet. They are still a space where they are sort of renting with utilities, with a lot of services, but an edge has to be still acquired for people to change their perception.
Agree. So you mean to say this is still an evolving concept, and the evolution of this concept will be seen only once we see a few of them operational over
Of
a period
course.
of time, how the people who are renting spaces with co-living, their experience would also matter for this concept to evolve further.
Of course, of course. So I think it's operational in a fewer cities, but it's still on a format where people are single professionals who are working there or traveling for a few months and staying in one city. It's quite an evolving field in India as of now that I see. Of course, in many other countries, I have seen this pattern work quite well. But you have to also understand India predominantly is a place where asset building is considered as buying a home is an asset building for any individual who comes from the home buying category. So both are going to be here to stay, but of course I see the newer generation moving there after probably a few years.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Like to add to that point, like what Mudra mentioned, co-living could be a good precursor before asset building. Like, once a person, since we all have established this fact that Pune is a city based on migrated population, so it gives a wonderful opportunity to these incoming people, like, to experience the city, see how they can settle in within the environment of the city, and then take this bigger move of owning an asset and creating a life in the city as they progress in their working career as well. So, in fact, evolution of co-living is going to be much healthy for the overall spectrum of the real estate sector, I think.
Absolutely, Mohit. I completely agree with you, because buying a home is a big commitment when it comes to financial commitment as well. So I absolutely agree with you that it's good to test the waters for any buyer who's wanting to buy a home to, experience the city before they buy anything.
Absolutely. That's a good point that Mohit made also, that, they can actually test the waters, see how it's going. And Mudra, I agree with you when you say that making a commitment is a big thing, irrespective of the pricing today. But yeah, they can actually test a location, test an area, and then get into making a big commitment. Okay, completely agree with you. While we are talking about that, infrastructure development is also something that has been spoken on a lot of panels, and I don't want to make this topic very boring, but quickly, is the metro network basically in Pune? We are seeing the biggest infra development right now that is happening, because besides the road network and other things, is the metro network. How do you think this will uplift the reality sectors where the metro is going to connect, and public transport, so to say, would be improved?
Honestly, we should have had a metro network years back, but of course, this is our time to get it in this city. Any mode of transport which is public generally facilitates a lot of residents being able to travel better to the rest of the part of the city. If you see Pune's metro network, I've been reading a few statistics about how it's going to be. I've seen they have carefully planned it, which it's going to pass through all prominent residential and commercial location. And I think this has been planned because if you check statistics, every person who commutes in Pune generally takes over 100 minutes of time in commuting through the day. So this time, I think the metro aims to bring down this time by 75%, which is going to be a lot of time saving for a person who is traveling for work, for any other purpose. Apart from that, because of metros being introduced, we will see a lot of spaces probably which are, you will say, the peripheries of our city which will develop. You will also see a lot of citizens that will settle near the metro connectivity. So in the last previous panel, I was hearing some, like you said, a lot, this has been spoken through a lot of panels. So I've seen a lot of people, I will see a lot of developers, getting into developments which are closer to the metro stations. Also, probably there will be rapid development in the suburbs of Pune. So probably Pune as a city will grow. There will be a situation like a bigger city where we will have more suburbs. There will be rapid development in the outskirts of the city where the metro will reach. And of course, this will also lead in increase in commerce. So I feel that there will be more commerce, there will be more people who will want to commute to farther spaces. And of course, the density around the metro stations and where the periphery of the metro is will definitely increase. So for real estate and for, I think, general commute for everyone, it's a boon for the city right now.
Absolutely. And it's about time that we have it. And let's hope that June, July is the first sector that would be active. We're all looking forward to that. While we are on this subject, I'll quickly switch the subject a little bit and get back to hardcore real estate. Now, real estate typically has been an industry where touch and feel has been the most critical aspect of deciding whether you need to buy or invest in a particular asset. Now, Rahul, this is a question directly directed to you. Tech platforms and technology and, virtual kind of inspections that are conducted these days, and we've done a lot of those in the commercial segment as well. How do you see these tech platforms integrating and buyers moving away from a touch and feel scenario to actually getting all their inspections and all their work done through a tech platform?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah. So honestly, this has been a really trending stuff in real estate. This has helped the real estate industry really well in the COVID period. When people were actually not able to travel and they were not able to explore more options. This switch to technology solutions really helped buyers continue looking for their preferred home. Still, a lot of developers are not banking on these solutions, but this is a need of the hour. I mean, this has really shown us that buyers start engaging more with your brand, showing them a virtual walkthrough makes them understand what exactly is the project about. People are able to relate to the brand and the project more. There has been a really good level of engagement that we have started seeing. Our conversion rates from our digital campaigns have scaled up, and is really amplifying the overall campaign. I mean, you get a lot of response when you are able to deliver what people are actually looking for.
Right. And this is a question that you and Mr. Das can answer as well, because this is more related to strategy in selling. What we have seen is that having internal sales agencies, the role of internal sales agencies with developers is kind of diminishing, and it's moving more towards tech platforms as well as engaging with channel partners. Okay, we also saw a couple of projects where the internal sales agencies were not even required. The channel partners actually came in and sold the entire project. So do you see this role of technology coupled with channel partner engagement increasing over the next few years of time? And since this is a strategy related as well as a technology thing, Mr. Das can definitely share his inputs on this.
Yeah. Rahul, you want to speak about it?
You can take it, sir.
So, Pune has always been a market of soul selling companies or soul selling agents, or you call a little glorified CPs. Pune has always been that. And of late, they have definitely enhanced their inroads to a lot of developers. In fact, today, they are the real influencers in the decision-making process as far as the customer is concerned. If you look at the quality of the CPs also, they are also hiring a lot of MBAs. Instead of one man driving the CP network, there are teams starting from 2 people going as high as 40, 50, 80, 100 people as well. So a lot of big developers, I mean, be it Pride, be it Mantra, or be it VTP, Godrej, Shapoorjis of the world, they've been doing a lot of pre-launches through the CP networks. And CPs who were traditionally contributing almost about 30 to 40% of sales have already started contributing more than 70, 80% of the overall sales now. So that is a major shift that has happened. But if you ask me, are the CPs going to close entirely by themselves? I think my answer is no. CP continues to be primarily a firm which will focus on sourcing and the walk-ins. And developers have to have their own teams, or they have to hire mandate companies or people who have the kind of expert knowledge to who can draw up the go-to-market plan, activate the CP channel, activate the digital channel, activate the BTL channel, activate the other channels that are required. So ensuring that the overall sales closures are done efficiently. So I personally feel that having just CPs to close the deals of the developers, I mean, it may work out for a few projects where the location is brilliant, the price is brilliant, and but in the long run, I don't think that is going to work out. What is actually going to work out is a very robust closer team, which is required by the developers. A few of the mandate companies, or for example, large developers who have their own, knowledgeable guys, experienced guys, professionals who are doing the excellent closers, they are the people who really close the deals. So, and coming back to, you said, Ray, sometime back, touch and feel.
Yeah.
Other than a big brand, every lady wants to see the house first, see the plan, and where my kitchen is, where my bedroom is. They have to come to the site, they have to experience it. They only then they buy. So that is my experience. I leave it to Rahul.
So I completely agree with that. The journey doesn't end unless they visit the actual
So
site.
with all respect to Rahul and technology, I feel matrimony and real estate are the 2 business which are always research online, but marriage will happen only offline.
And
So
this has been
closure
the
will
case.
always happen offline.
And still, it's honestly still been the case. There has been a shift towards it. People are choosing to make a token booking online. They are ready to allow you to block an inventory, but ultimately they will definitely see the project. This is still there. This journey has not been completely moved on. But that the shift is happening. People are moving towards technology solutions. They want to save time. They want to check things before they visit the site, and which technology solutions are really easily offering that. And developers are also adopting it. So it's helping both consumers and developers to create a good relation between the brand and the consumers. People are leveraging this, and real estate definitely has a long way to continue doing this. This has just been started a couple of years back. I think there is a lot of new things that is coming in. We will add more technology solutions. Recently, a lot of top builders have started doing drip marketing, more marketing automation. which is really helping them nurture their current leads. So there are a lot of innovation which is there in the industry, and brands are ready to take up, which is a very good sign. This will always help both the side of the business, even the consumers and the brand.
Right. So, is it safe to say that while physical channel partners who hire their own employees and are actually out in the market conducting inspections, showing properties to buyers, prop tech and technology-driven platforms are also ensuring that this stage of kind of shortlisting an apartment and going as long as booking a space or booking an apartment can be done online, while they will still have to go to the physical site, see the place, and then continue to a registration or take the booking further.
Right. I mean, as we discussed, the journey will be reduced. It might also open up a big funnel of people who are looking for a property, which are not active buyers, but a passive buyer can also get into that funnel. So technology solution will actually open up that reach for the developers. And also, I mean, there is a lot of things that developers can do with the technology solutions which are already available. For example, I would not say CRM is something new. CRM is already there in the industry. Now, the next big thing that can come up is, how well are you utilizing that data which you have in your systems? Now, that's a big gap. People are accessing. What developers assume is that I have implemented CRM, I'm probably on the par with the technology needs. But that is actually not what you're using the CRM for. You need to use the CRM for developing insights, taking out meaningful information which you can then translate into marketing segments, even communications. So which is been happening in other industries. Real estate is somewhere not utilizing the data that they have in hand. This is something also we see as a digital team that would also bring a lot of value to the brand.
Yeah, so enhancing the data that you already have and using it properly is something that a prop tech or
reassessing the data that you have, the way you were actually looking at the data. Now I think post-COVID you need to reassess that. It's not been the same way that used to happen 2 or 3 years back. You definitely have to relook and find new strategies.
So just to
sorry, go ahead, Mohit.
Go ahead. So just to add to Rahul's point, it's very interesting how this information is being provided to the customers nowadays. There are so many avenues through which information is given. So it just reiterates the initial discussion that I had, or the mention that I had, that there is dearth of information available to customers today. So even when they are coming to a project, they are very well aware of what is there, what is not there, and their evaluation process just becomes the use of technology helps them evaluate better. And that is and another interesting point that he made was to make sense of the data that you have. So and very rightly, if the CRM is not utilized to the fullest, and it is not just about call management or lead management, but it should be about what, as a developer or a marketing person, you can make sense of the data and build up efficiencies in your communication with the customer, and maybe use it to enhance the customer delight.
So it all goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think
online. Sorry, I interrupted, Mudra.
Sorry, I wanted to add a little to what Rahul was saying. So I completely agree with Rahul with how data has been not, I mean, a lot of developers don't use the data, though they collect the data and process it into something that is information. Just having data and having avenues, like Mohit correctly said, that a lot of customers have too much information as of now. How to channelize the information is something that is very important, which the marketing channels and PropTech does today. Also, I feel as a developer or as a person who is wanting to sell products or projects, it is very important for them to create this bond with the consumer, because the consumer probably doesn't buy once. The consumer can buy a few number of times in the entire cycle of his life, So data is something that becomes very important, and marketing techniques or PropTech techniques to keep them engaged through years is something that we will probably look at in the further years.
Sure. While all of us, I completely understand that technology is something that is going to be the buzzword over the next, at least in the next 5 to 10 years, and further as well. But while again, I'll get back to conceptualization of a project, and Mr. Das, again, your inputs would be the most critical. While we're looking at apartments which fit a particular budget, which fit particular demand drivers that a client has or a buyer has, are we seeing wellness components that developers are actually including in their projects? Like for example, for offices, it's more to deal with the experience that a person gets, the building services. But in residential, there would be a lot of softer aspects that a developer has to account for. So what are these kind of softer aspects that they would account for? And going forward, do we see these coming and taking forefront?
See, home buying is now no more buying a dwelling unit anymore,
Yes,
first and foremost.
great point, sir.
As you enter from Mumbai to Pune, on the both sides of the roads, you see a lot of hoardings. And only people talk about lifestyle.
Yes.
People talk about wellness. People talk about underwater apartments. People talk about deck is no more your deck. Deck is your garden. People talk about live life king size. People no more really talk about a dwelling unit. And rightfully so, what has happened is pandemic made us realize that the most important asset for us is home. And the focus the people had on wellness post-pandemic has increased significantly. And people are wanting to move to homes that are community living. People are wanting to move to homes that have got amenities, where they can stay in the community and yet be entertained. Yes, yet we have a proper wellness zone, though be it a gym or be it something where the father gets something to do with the kids, spending time for bonding, or maybe a place where Zumba classes can happen, maybe where yogas can happen, where can a very good gym be, where you can, there is an element of sport, there is an element of exercise, there is element of wellness, which is getting developed of late. And it is definitely going to drive sales. People are no more wanting to stay in just dwelling units. People want lifestyle, people want wellness, and it is getting attached. It is not only just the residential apartments. If you look at a few commercial establishments that are coming up today, people are ensuring that the commercial establishments have a business center, a very good gym, a dash of retail built into every building. And that is nothing but it's good for the mind and body both. Wellness is not just about the body, but it's also for the mind. So there is a very, very important role that is being played today as far as wellness is concerned. There's a focus on wellness today. Every establishment that is happening, wellness is definitely at the core, I would say.
Sure. And good point that you made, and this is something that definitely would become a buzzword, is community living. Like you said, that they're not looking at buying an apartment where they can live. They're actually buying something that they can live along with, which is an extended feature of that particular place that they would live in. So yeah, community living is definitely, good point, Mr. Das. Since we are running against time, I would like to open a question which is kind of uniform and anyone can answer that. Through the pandemic, a lot of things have changed and a lot of strategies have changed. So can we pen down or can we kind of mark a few of the things that have actually changed or which are strategic learnings for us, and how these learnings can going to take us to the next level in the next 5 to 10 years? And that is where we can actually say that we have discussed and we have actually derived 1 or 2 or 5 points that we feel would be the next in reality.
So I think one key takeaway would be, post pandemic, you have seen that technology was the only way of interacting with the TG, right? So and brands were ready to reinvent themselves. So the brands who did not reinvent themselves were not ready to adapt to the needs of the changing demands, they probably were not able to survive the period. So I think you have to be open to what is the need of the hour in term, and be ready to reinvent and re-strategize yourself. Don't stick to the old model of, I will try to win it the way I was winning it earlier. So you will have to be open to all the new things that is happening in the world. Be adaptive so that you can, live and beat your competition. So that is something that I strongly believe we should be looking forward to.
Sure.
So
So,
only
and
thing,
technology would play a major part in that.
Yeah, obviously digital plays a real big role in that.
See, when the pandemic came, we all have realized, uh, you know, people had to rush somewhere. They didn't want to stay where they were. All the migratory people, they shifted maybe to Mumbai or to Madurai or to Madras or to Mangalore or UP on Bihar. And that place is called their home. They wanted to go back home. That's one particular thing. So it brings us to a basic thing that people realized that home comes first. Home comes first. That's the first thing that people realized. And second, pandemic also created havoc when people stayed at home. For the first time, they realized the space is not adequate. In a place like Bombay, when a husband and wife both are working and the children are also studying, I mean, both the children, and it's a 2-bedroom apartment, each child takes away one room each. And the lady maybe takes the dining table of the room, then husband maybe sits outside somewhere in one corner and works, So they realize very well that, yes, space is a constraint. So post-pandemic, there has been a shift that come what may, we must invest in home. That's going to be primary. So the people who could afford bigger homes to buy, they looked out for bigger homes. People who could not afford for bigger homes, till they could afford, they started renting out and moving to bigger homes. So definitely the size of homes have impacted. Have improved. The lookout for homes for bigger size has significantly gone up. Second, where there were joint families also, where people were spending significant amount of time traveling in office and coming back home to sleep, that changed significantly. People realize we'll stay close to each other, but let us have a bigger space. Let us have 2 different dwelling units.
Right.
So those things have in fact improved the overall demand of homes, I must say. A larger space and home comes first is the primary thing that has happened in this space. And
the biggest learning which I feel from a business point of view or on a larger perspective is what we need to understand is the uncertainty is the only certain thing in this world now. Today it was pandemic. Tomorrow it can be anything else we could not thought of. Couple of years back, no one thought of what pandemic can do. We will be confined to our homes or to our societies or to our respective rooms even. If we are for a quarantine. So tomorrow you never know what kind of new uncertainty will arise. So we have to be flexible, we have to be adaptive, and we have to be ready for all this kind of volatility and certain uncertainty which will hit the business any point of time. And yes, pandemic has taught us a lot, and a lot of us has learned on a lighter note cooking skills and cleaning skills as well.
Yeah, let's not get there. Let's not get there at all. I know. One point that, about community living, and like Mr. Das also mentioned, that it has to be something they can call home. I'll give you a simple example what I experienced pre-COVID and post-COVID. Won't name the project, obviously, but the project has a golf course within that project. And I'd been there pre-COVID. And though the project was sold, the occupancy in that project was very, very low. And I recently went there for a round of golf with a friend of mine who lives there. And he tells me that not only is the occupancy around 85 to 90% there, in the last 1.5 years, they have seen something like 79 golfers learning golf and starting playing. So they actually, because of the community that they have there, they actually did not go back to their hometowns, but moved into a place that they had bought and actually utilized that place in the last 1.5 to 2 years. So yeah, community living and something that they can call home will definitely take forefront going forward, is what I feel.
Also, as a developer, we need to show a lot of compassion and care towards our customer. Like, that again, we as a developer need to evolve. And, at every certain point, how we can be there for the customer and how they can help us, it has to be an exchange of healthy exchange. So I think that, yes, compassion is going to be critical for developers in the times to come.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Great. So, a few things that definitely come about from our discussion right now. Yes, technology is going to be something that would be, or rather would become a biggest selling tool in the future. And when we say technology, it's not only about lead generation or aggregation, but also managing and effectively utilizing the data that we have on the systems that are already existing currently. Okay. Besides that, community living, I just touched upon compassionate approach by the developers. That's something unique, very unique, boy. That I would love to see that happen. I've been a home buyer myself, so I can really.
You start experiencing that very soon.
So I think that is already there. I mean, I feel all of the developers lend some compassion towards all the home buyers. I've always seen that. I think Mohit and Nitin will agree to that.
Certainly.
Great. What's coming out of this discussion is we're talking about more softer aspects of what the reality sector needs to look at, which I don't think anyone else ever discusses. And this is fantastic because we are not talking about the kind of offers we give to the clients. We are not talking about the discounts. We are not talking about the payment schedules. We are not talking about tenant improvement allowances. But what I'm very keen, very, very happy that we are talking about the softer aspects, which, if implemented correctly, would be more long lasting and would give benefits over the we're talking about 5 years, but something like compassion, something like creating an experience for a client, enhancing their delight. These are things that would take us to maybe 15, 20 years from now as well. And correct me if I'm wrong.
I think that helps in brand building as well.
Yes.
I'll have a little different angle to it. I agree with what Mohit said, compassion.
Yeah.
And look, all big decisions the people take is not from the head, but from the heart. You ask your heart, all decisions we have taken so far in our lives is the heart agrees first, then the head, be it marriage or be it home buying. So we have realized that, when it comes to home buying, the decision is made at heart than the head.
So you're right. And that's where,
very, very big decision that we all take.
Absolutely.
So that's why softer elements are very, very important. No matter how hard the financial elements may be, but if your heart says go ahead, you will go ahead as far as the home is concerned.
Absolutely. And what everyone, I mean, Mohit, Nitin, Rahul, Mudra, all of you and Mr. Das as well, all of you have stressed upon the point that we need to start focusing more on the softer elements as well.
Absolutely.
And offers that we give to the clients would keep coming. I mean, there will be innovation in those offers as well. So, that's a good point that has come about from this discussion. Hi, Jimmy, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Hi, Jimmy. Hi.
Sorry, I'm traveling.
Yeah.
You have to bear with me, but I'm online for you guys.
Yeah, so we had a very interesting discussion right now while we discussed how things have changed, how technology is taking the forefront, how brands are getting reinvented, how the community living and more focus on things that they can call home is taking a forefront. We've also discussed how the growth of the industry over the last couple of years has been the want for larger spaces or larger rooms or larger number of rooms, I would say. Taking care of the customers, enhancing their experience, compassion, softer angles. These are things that came about in our discussion, which would take us to the next level. And going forward, we won't be struggling for sales, but we would be enhancing the sales delight.
Absolutely.
Looking forward for this dynamic change in the real estate and hoping that all of us see the curve, go upward and get the maximum out of this.
Look, see, this is not going to be led by one or two developers. This has to be a collective effort.
Collective, yes.
Yes.
As developers, as media persons, as people who are in the tech platform, and as consultants, brokers, channel partners, all of us have to collectively look at how we can enhance the entire sector as well.
Yes.
Our sector is getting an industry status finally, so let's take it to the next level.
Fantastic. I think this was one fantastic discussion where we were not talking about numbers, but we were talking about, the holistic view of the real estate, which not many people have seen that face of real estate and the developers. And one lesson that probably we can say these last 2 years have taught us is empathy in all aspects of our life. So it was a wonderful session, Mr. Praveen Apte, for bringing out that aspect from our panel members. Thank you so much bringing out that aspect and that face of real estate from our panel members and our speakers. Thank you very much for that wonderful moderation, and our speakers for being here with us, sharing, with open heart, their, honest views and, how they are doing within their domain, taking the real estate sales in a very different way forward, whether it is digitally or traditionally. Mr. Das, thank you for being here with us today. Mr. Mohit Goyal, thank you for being here and sharing your views. Mudra, always a pleasure to have you on our panel. And Rahul Goyal, thank you for being here, sharing that technology point of view for real estate, how things are going to move forward. And Nitin Gupta, thank you once again, for sharing your expert views on this very interesting topic. Thank you, everyone, for being here, joining Realty Plus Conclave, and for this discussion.
Thank you, Sapna.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.